We can move on to item on 1.2 of our agenda, which is roll call, and I'll ask our clerk, Jesse Clark, to please conduct the roll.
Thank you. Mayor Lamstead, are you present?
I am present.
Deputy Mayor Armstrong?
Present.
Councillor Franzen?
Present.
Councillor Braybrook?
Present.
Councillor Cadigan?
Present.
For staff, we have Donna Taggart, CIO Treasurer.
Present.
Dylan Kosh, Director of Recreation and Facilities.
Present.
Eric Gay, Director of Building and Planning, CBO.
Present.
Adele Arbor, Planner.
Present.
Bianca Dragicevic, Deputy Clerk.
Present.
And Jesse Clark, Director of Corporate Services, Clerk is present.
Okay, thank you, Jesse. We can move on to item 1.3 of our agenda, which is land acknowledgement and moments of reflection. We respectfully acknowledge that Trent Lakes and Peterborough County are located on the Treaty 20 Mississauga territory and in the traditional territory of the Mississauga and Chippewa nations, collectively known as the Williams Treaty First Nation, which include Curve Lake, Hiawatha, Alderville, Scugog Island, Rama, Beausoleil, and Georgina Island First Nations. Trent Lakes respectfully acknowledges that the Williams Treaty First Nations are the stewards and caretakers of these lands and waters in perpetuity, and that they continue to maintain this responsibility to ensure their health and integrity for generations to come. We will now take a moment to reflect on these principles and our duties and responsibilities as members of council. Thank you, everyone. Okay, we can move on to item 2 of the agenda, which is the approval of the agenda as circulated. I would entertain a motion for same. See Councillor Cadigan for a mover and Deputy Mayor Armstrong for a seconder. Any conversation about the agenda as circulated? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. We can move on to item 3 of our agenda, which is the disclosure of pecuniary interest. If any member of council has a pecuniary interest on an item of the agenda, please disclose it now or anytime during the meeting prior to discussing anything on the item you have an interest in. And seeing no hands, we can move on to item 4 of our agenda, which is the adoption of the minutes. Item 4.1 is our regular council meeting of September the 2nd. Councillor Franzen, what is your motion, Councillor Franzen?
To receive the minutes,
Okay.
approve the minutes.
And do I have a seconder for that motion? Deputy Mayor Armstrong for a seconder. Any further conversation about the minutes? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. Now we can move on to item 5 of our agenda, which is committees and boards. Item 5.1 is the Committee of Adjustment and Appeals Committee of August 12th, 2025. Prepared to make a motion or have some Councillor Braybrook for a mover? Two. A mover two.
To receive.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Cadigan was the seconder for that motion. Any further conversation about those minutes? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. Item 5.2 is liaison reports for council boards and committees. Does anyone have any liaison reports? I'm seeing no hands. We can move on to item 6 of our agenda, which is our statutory public meeting pursuant to the Planning Act. I would entertain a motion to suspend our regular meeting and go into a public meeting.
Excuse me,
Yes.
could you speak up a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, I certainly can. Yeah, I do apologize. I will move that microphone a little closer. I usually do that before I get started.
Maybe you could turn that
Thank you.
because you've got a very deep voice. It's difficult to understand what you're saying.
Okay,
It sounds rather muffled.
thank you. I will try to do my best. I would entertain a motion to suspend our regular meeting and go into a public meeting. Councillor Cadigan for a mover. Councillor Braybrook for a seconder. I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. Okay, we are now in a public meeting, and I do believe Adele Arbor, our planner, you have a preamble.
Yes, thank you. And through you, Mayor Lambshead, today's public meeting is held under Section 17 and 34 of the Planning Act to consider an amendment to the municipality's official plan and comprehensive zoning bylaw, B 2014-070. Applications 25-13 is strictly an amendment to the zoning bylaw, whereas official plan amendment 62 and file number 25-14 applies to an amendment to both the official plan and zoning bylaw. A notice of public meeting for today's applications containing the prescribed information was circulated to all landowners within a 120-meter radius of the subject lands at least 20 days prior to this meeting, and a sign was posted on the subject land in accordance with the Planning Act. The notice was also mailed to all prescribed agencies, public bodies, and persons in accordance with the regulations. Anyone wanting to be notified of any decision from today's public meeting must either inform myself or the clerk, and the notice of passing will be mailed to them, setting out the method and manner in which appeals may be made to the Ontario Land Tribunal. If a person does not send in a written comment prior to the passing of the bylaw or make an oral submission at a public meeting, that person may not be entitled to appeal a decision.
Okay, thank you very much, Adele Arbor. You can carry on to item 6.1 of our agenda, please.
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Mayor. This is a public meeting for file number 25-13 to consider a zoning bylaw amendment submitted by Troy Toms, owner of the property legally described as Concession 16, Lot 6, Harvey Ward, and generally is located at the intersection of Bear Creek Road and Elam Lodge Road. The purpose of the proposed zoning bylaw amendment is a condition of provisional consent for files B90-24 and B91-24, which were conditionally approved on April 17, 2025 to facilitate the creation of two new residential lots. Specifically, the consents proposed one residential lot fronting onto Bear Creek Road and the other on Elam Lodge Road. As the proposed lots are undersized for the continuation of the rural zoning, a condition of provisional approval was to rezone the proposed lots from the rural zone to the rural residential zone. As the newly created lots do not meet the minimum lot size for the uses permitted in the rural zone and does not meet the minimum frontage requirement. The applicant has submitted a registered plan 45R-17872, which illustrates the proposed lots as part 1 and 2 being 0.343 hectares or 0.847 acres in size and having a frontage of 45.5 meters or 149.3 feet, and parts 3 and 4 on the plan is required to be transferred to the municipality as a road dedication. There is a planning report attached to today's agenda in support of the zoning bylaw amendment. The planning report identifies that the application is consistent with provincial policy and meets the purpose and intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw. Correspondence from the building department was received identifying each proposed lot is suitable and acceptable for an on-site sewage system. No public comments have been received. This concludes a summary of the proposed zoning bylaw amendment application. Mr. Mayor, I now turn it over to you for the public input portion of the meeting. Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you very much, Adele Arbor, our planner. Okay, is there anyone in the gallery for or against this application? If so, please raise your hand and you can speak about it. I'm seeing no hands in the gallery. Is there anyone on the virtual gallery? Okay, does any member of council have any comments or questions about this file? I'm seeing none. I just think this file kind of makes sense. There's already 2 existing lots right on that corner, just a continuation of that. Okay, thank you very much, Adele Arbor. We can move on now to item 6.2 of our agenda, which is zoning bylaw or file number 2514. And I do believe Chris Jones, our external planner, would like to speak to this item.
We also have Melanie Menon from the County of Peterborough available for this file.
Mr. Mayor and Council, Chris Jones here. You can hear me okay?
Yes, we can, Chris. Go ahead.
So now I'm just looking at the screen. I still see the other. I sent through a slide deck yesterday. I wonder if.
We're just pulling it up.
Yeah, very good.
Here we go.
Okay, so Mr. Mayor and Council, this is an official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment for the municipality of Trent Lakes, and we're holding a concurrent meeting for an official plan amendment with the County of Peterborough. And it's a concurrent meeting because the official plan amendments, the principal thing that the official plan amendments are addressing is a expansion to the settlement area boundary around Bobcaygeon. And so rather than convene separate statutory meetings, the county and the municipality are holding a concurrent meeting. So we have as staff indicated, we have Miss Manon, the County of Peterborough planner. And what I'll do, you have my report dated, I think it's August 27th. What I've done just to try to touch on the key aspects of the application is as I prepared this slide deck. So the location of the subject lands is part of lot 19, concession 19. And again, that's if we just scroll forward to the key map, we see the subject lands in their entirety, and that property is just shy of 120 acres with about 420 meters of frontage on County Road 49 and about 21 meters of frontage on the west side on Moonline Road North. And if we just scroll to the next, okay, so that's an aerial. I think that was also in my report. Again, that just gives some context for the, again, the existing developed area to the south, as well as the west, and then rural lands to the east and north. And next slide. So then this provides some insight as to the need for the amendments. So Jeffrey Homes Limited is the owner of the entire property. The southerly portion identified on this map as being in that hamlet designation with an area of 20 hectares. And I believe through a previous applicant or owner, there was steps taken on a plan of subdivision for those vacant lands. Again, the current owner acquired the lands to the north and consolidated them as a single parcel. And so the application for subdivision, as it were, has evolved to include these northerly lands. So what we have in process on these lands is an application for plan of subdivision and the application for official plan amendment. That's primarily to address the settlement area, but there's also an EP natural heritage feature that I'll speak to shortly. And as I mentioned before, that official plan amendment is a county official plan amendment, again under the current official plan, as the new official plan is still yet to be approved by the ministry, as well as to our own municipal official plan. And also part of this overall application is an application for zoning amendment, which would authorize residential use and also establish other zone categories, applicable zone categories, to either protect environmental features or to identify open space blocks. If we just jump to the next slide, that is the sort of consolidated draft plan subdivision. So as you can see there, as a result of natural heritage assessment work, sort of that central north-south area of the subject lands has been precluded from development by virtue of wetland features and natural heritage constraints. And so, so what we have is the east and west sides, and we have with access obviously to the west side from Moonline Road North, and access from the east side from County Road 49. 58 lots in total, with an average lot size of just over.
Just you'll have your chance once Chris has done his presentation.
It's just while this was up, I wanted to do this.
Yeah, we'll go back to it for you when you ask your question. Okay, sorry, go ahead, Chris.
And yeah, so I'll just jump to the next slide. And so the proposed official plan amendment, as I mentioned earlier, the most substantive aspect of the application is to extend the settlement area designation. And so that would be that hatched area to the north that you see, which would be redesignated from the rural to hamlet designation in the Trent Lakes official plan, and to the settlement area designation in the County of Peterborough official plan. As I mentioned, when we were looking at the draft plan of subdivision, the natural heritage features, that sort of central diagonal north-south feature would also be designated in both the both sort of portions of that property, so that it would become EP and essentially not a development portion of the property. And we could just jump to the next slide. Number of studies have been submitted in accordance with local and county development policy requirements. And these studies have been the subject of peer review and peer review reply or supplemental. Kawartha Region Conservation Authority has also been involved in the review of studies sort of subject to their jurisdiction and purview. And on balance, I can report that the peer review comments are generally favorable, and with essentially outstanding comments at this point, relating more to more detailed design elements of the proposed draft plan. And the next slide. So the consideration for the expansion to the settlement area is something that, again, as I mentioned before, there was initial applications on the southerly portion, mainly because that was designated, and so it represented the lands that were that, at least according to our official plan and the county official plan, were sort of eligible for development. At the time of PPS 2024, as council is aware, there's a few changes to that document, as well as at the same time, the removal of the former growth plan. And so prior to PPS 2024, expansion to settlement areas was the subject of what we called comprehensive review, or what the growth plan and PPS referred to as comprehensive review. It was in place. That policy requirement, provincial policy requirement, was in place for some time, and but generally proved to be a sort of a more extensive and arduous undertaking, and something that was again left to the purview more of the upper tier planning authorities. Through the current PPS, obviously, the provincial government is doing what they can at a policy level to try to encourage housing development, housing growth, and so the sort of the fundamental criteria for the expansion of a settlement area are laid out on this slide, section 2.3.1, and I've reviewed these criteria in relative detail in my planning report, and I'm generally satisfied that the application at hand addresses these requirement. Now, the one exception that came to light was item E, and that's a requirement that new or expanded settlement areas comply with the minimum distance separation formula. And the applicant information, or the planning justification report, actually did include some MDS analysis of neighboring agricultural buildings. It did omit one directly to the north. And so at the time I prepared my planning report at the end of August, that was an outstanding item, unfortunately. So it was really on that basis that I wasn't able to recommend we proceed with the OPA with a recommendation for adoption today. What I will say, and maybe we could just jump to the next slide. Right, so this is an illustration from the applicant's planning justification report, with the red circles representing the barns that were assessed, and then you can see the yellow arrow that there was one barn that was not part of that assessment. So yeah, at the time I did the report because I was up north for meetings, and at the beginning of September that had me out of the office. I wasn't able to resolve that particular MDS item. Now, since writing my report, I have had the opportunity to actually go see this site. And so if we just go to the next slide. Yeah. So again, what we have on that northerly property is an old bank barn, probably in excess of 80 to 100 years. And there is an MDS implementation guideline, which indicates that the MDS setback is not applicable where livestock facilities are no longer reasonably capable of housing livestock. So I went on site with the hopes of meeting with the owner. The owner was not there that day, so I took a quick look around the barn. My own opinion, it's a planning opinion as well as opinion of someone that has spent a lot of formative years on a farm and in barns, is that structure, even though it is a lovely old bank barn, I don't think, or I think its days of holding livestock are probably behind it. It's as it is inclined to happen with these types of facilities, they do settle over time, particularly if there isn't livestock in them. So that lower floor doesn't have a lot of headroom, and more importantly, it really doesn't accommodate equipment, i.e., front end loader. So that's my sort of general observation. Obviously, if this landowner is present today and has some comments about that barn, we'd certainly like to hear them. Apart from that, and the proponents or the applicant's planner will probably speak to this, the nature of the MDS encroachment from that barn is pretty limited. And so even in a sort of a worst case scenario, we could, through the zoning bylaw, establish an increased rear yard setback to reflect the pretty minor encroachment caused by the MDS setback. So I do believe there is a resolution to that. I just didn't, at the time I finalized my planning report at the end of August, I didn't have that resolution at hand. So if we just go to the next slide. Subject to any other comments that come out today, I do believe that, again, there is a resolution to that outstanding MDS issue, and the planning department would be prepared to finalize the OPA for council's consideration at their next meeting. So, Mr. Mayor, I'll stop there, and if there's any questions for me at this point, council's free to ask. We do have, as I said, if we could just give the floor to the county planner, Melanie Menon, and of course the applicant's planner also has an overview that she would like to provide. So I'll turn it back to you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much, Chris, for your very in-depth conversation there. Is there anyone that has any questions first to that report?
Yeah, I've got a question.
Can you please come to the podium there and state your name for the record? Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Rick Sarek. We own 189 County Road 49. So we will be on the other side observing all of this that you're proposing will be going on. Now, what I found, I've only sat here for 10 minutes. It's the first time I've come to a meeting like this. And I'm surprised at the speed at which the gentleman who was just speaking, I don't know his name. I don't even know what he looks like. But, you know, we're all just normal people. Most of us are retired. We've all had to work hard in our lives. And what I'm really surprised at is how fast this, what was his name? Chris?
Chris Jones.
How how quick his presentation is. Yeah. Does anybody know what NDS means? No, I don't know.
It's minimum distance separation.
Yeah, you know that. We don't know. We just pay taxes. Mm-hmm. You know, we're paying your wages. I hope you feel good about that. So, Chris, if you're listening, could you make it a little bit simpler for the general public? We haven't all been to university like you. Now, what I was concerned about, there was a picture there. Chris was talking about a barn, a bank barn. Where is it? You moved so fast, we couldn't see where it is. And to be honest, when we're looking at the screen,
There's a little yellow arrow on
right,
that.
you've got to
screen.
come right up to see where it is, which nobody has done because this is moving at such a fast pace. I mean, have a little bit of respect for the people who are paying your wages, Chris.
You see that little yellow arrow on there? I do
Yes, I see
believe
the
that-
yellow arrow.
And it's also, it's not angled at us, it's angled at that. So it's really hard to observe.
Can we turn that one, Dylan? I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know.
We can't see that.
Can we zoom in on that at all, just so we can, I think we can zoom in on that a little bit too. I'm not sure. Can you do that? Thank you.
Can you tell me where County Road 49 is?
It should be the one going straight down the middle, I think.
Does anybody know?
I certainly could point it out to you if I could get over there, I'm sure. There, Bill Arbor, our planner, assist there.
This is County Road 49.
And where is the barn that we're talking about?
The barn we're talking about is right here.
It's the
Okay.
lazy rancher.
And the
Right.
proposed development we're talking about abuts this plan of
Yes,
subdivision.
okay,
So it's right in
Okay,
here.
just
right.
Try to
So
have one person speaking at one time.
Chris was mentioning that he felt in his opinion that that barn was not capable of holding livestock. Isn't that correct, Chris? That's what you said. Am I understanding what you said?
Okay, please ask me the question. and I'll
Ask
make
you
sure-
the question, Terry.
Go
Is
through
it?
the chair, please. Thank you.
Is that what Chris was trying to say? That it's not suitable to hold livestock?
Okay, Chris, I think that was your report. Can you speak to that, please?
Sorry, just Mr. Mayor, to be clear, the question is whether the barn is capable of housing livestock?
Yes.
Yeah, and as I say, I was on site and walked around the barn and just, I don't think it's been used for livestock for many years, and I'm not sure it is going to be in the future based on its current condition.
Well, I think you'll find, Chris, that is not my farm. I know whose farm it is. That's designated a commercial farm, correct? Chris, is that correct?
I'm sorry, is it a commercial farm, Mr. Mayor?
Commercial farm. This is a very simple question. You should know this answer. You don't know. It's a commercial farm. And that is a barn that was built for livestock. I've been in that barn, Chris. Yes, and upstairs, there's all kinds of things, even cars, farm machinery. That's what it's built for. And you were saying in your assessment that the downstairs was not suitable for holding livestock. Sorry, I disagree with you. They've had horses in those barns just recently, or maybe you weren't aware of that. But apparently from what you said, you visited that barn and there was nobody on site. And you've made your assessment from that. And then qualified visit, Chris.
Okay, I don't know, is there a question there? Did you ask?
No,
a
it's a
direct question?
statement of fact.
Okay.
He's coming as the expert, correct?
Yes, he is
He's the
definitely an expert
expert.
in
Well,
planning.
he's not much of an expert because that barn was built for livestock and had livestock in it recently. I know that because I live across the road.
Thank you for that. Doesn't concur with Chris's opinion, and we're making a decision of a whole bunch of ideas here, so.
Well, I'm getting a
I
little
thank you
bit
for
concerned.
that.
If he's an expert, he's not a very good expert, in my opinion.
Well, thank you for that. I
Thank you.
appreciate your opinion. Does anyone else have any more? Yes, go ahead, Adele, please.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, if I could just clarify, in Chris's presentation to council and to the public, he indicated that he wasn't bringing forward a recommendation to today's council meeting because of that barn. And all he did was a preliminary review and looked at it and felt that more information was required. And he's going to be working with the applicant and their consultant to determine what the minimum separation distance is of that barn location to the proposed development. So no decision is being made here today, other than we're receiving the public input. And we appreciate the gentleman's input he provided, because that will allow us to go out and do some further investigation so we can bring back proper information to this council.
Okay, thank you very much, Adele. Yes, please do. Yes.
You want me to come up there again?
I think we need to because anyone online can't hear you. So, thank you.
Okay. I didn't really want to talk about this, but now it's come up, we may as well discuss it as we all seem to have lots of time. You were saying that there should be a setback from the barn to where this proposed development, is that correct?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, there are minimum separation distances
Yeah.
done through the province, but it all depends what's being housed in there. So that's why we need to make a determination what the barn is actually being used for.
All right, well, I'm just a very simple man. I don't understand a lot of this, but I'm looking at the arrow. And you were saying from where the arrow is, am I right in thinking from what Chris said in his presentation, there should be a setback or a distance of about 150 meters to the beginning of where the new development will be. Is that correct?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, perhaps you can ask Chris that,
Yeah.
as he was on site.
Chris, yeah, was there a suggested minimum distance separation from that new identified barn to the?
Yeah. So, Mr. Mayor, we're going to hear from the applicant's planner who has done some minimum distance separation analysis and calculation for that facility. But in our communications, that setback, I believe, was in the neighborhood of 300 feet.
300 feet, which is about just less than 100 meters. Is that correct, Chris?
I would say, yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
So just a minute. What
Mm-hmm.
we're saying is that where that arrowhead is, the yellow arrowhead, we're going to come south by 100 meters, and that's where the new subdivision is going to begin. Is that correct? As I understand this.
Well, it wouldn't, I don't think it'd be on that property, but there is a minimum distance the subdivision can be from that barn that is going to be determined by for more investigation.
Do you know what the, from where County Road 49 is and Anderson Line, what is the width of that property that we're discussing right now?
I have no idea what the width of that property is.
No idea.
I'm sure that when we do our more investigation, we'll know exactly what the width of that
Well,
property
Chris would know because he's been there. Wouldn't you, Chris?
is. Well, I don't think he'd measure it, but I'm sure we could find
You
it.
should
on
have
the
an
GPS,
idea
but-
because he's pasted out.
Sir, Mr. Mayor,
What I remember.
Go ahead, Chris. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, the width of what property?
The one with the newly identified barn on it.
Yeah, I don't know that distance. If we just go back in my slide deck to the aerial,
Okay.
the other aerial with that identifies the boundaries of the subject lands.
Mine is page 4. There you go.
No, the aerial. Yeah, we had it there. Yeah, so we can see. You can now we have the boundary of the subject lands and no. Yeah, now we have the red boundary of the subject lands, and then they can see that the barn in question is that small white square. So if the frontage, I think I said the frontage of the subject lands was 423 meters, so I would think the frontage of the that northerly parcel would be 150 to 200 meters.
Mhm. Okay.
Sorry, are we
Thank you.
talking about from the corner of 49 and Anderson Line and to where the red line begins? That's the question that we're asking, Chris, is what is that distance?
I don't have that distance, Mr. Mayor, at my fingertips.
Can we tell on here where the property that the barn belongs to, where is that identified on this map?
It's the one immediately south of Branch Road, right?
Yeah, there.
So it's probably,
Yeah, what I'm trying to establish, does anybody know what the width of the land is?
the width of the land
Yeah.
that barn is on is probably looks like
that abuts the road. What we want to know, can I come out and point it out?
Sure,
What
please.
is the distance from there to there?
From the road or the barn? I didn't see what you were pointing.
All right, let me do it again.
The road. to
From the
right.
corner of the road, right there.
Yeah.
To there.
I mean, you're probably looking at least 150 to 200 meters there.
200 meters,
Just
that's about
judging from the
500
size of
feet.
the other.
Yes, that's right. It would be 500
Yeah.
feet because my property is 1,500 feet.
Yeah.
And that's about 1/3 of the distance.
Yeah.
And while we're at it, while I'm here, we own this property right there. What I'm concerned about is that somehow somebody, the people who eventually are supposed to live there, how are they going to get into this subdivision? Are they going to have an entrance right opposite us? Chris, do you know that answer?
I think on the one drawing here, there is a spot where it shows where that entrance.
Yeah, so if you scroll ahead, you can see the entrance. Now, it's not, unfortunately on this excerpt, it's not referenced to abutting lands. But you can see street A coming in off County Road.
Where is it, Chris?
If you go up there and look at that, you can move closer to that drawing if you'd like.
Right. Yeah. There,
There's two entrances.
right? So the question is, what is the distance from there to there?
I think we know it's 450 some odd meters.
450 meters, so about 900 feet. No, less than that, 800 feet.
It's more than that. It's like
1,400.
All right, 1,200 feet.
1,600 feet.
There's 1,200 and 500, which is the side of the other. That'll knock you up to about 1,700 feet. Is that what the actual
That's
distance
the-
is? About
yeah.
1,700
And
feet?
there'll be two
What I'm
entrances.
trying to establish, where are these openings in relation to our entrance to our property across the road?
Unfortunately, that just shows the size of the developing property. So you should be able to
I
guess.
can work it out, can't I?
Yeah.
Because I measure it from the corner.
Yeah,
there.
you got it.
This is an opening here. So what is the distance from there to there? Do we know?
No, I would assume it's 120 meters
120 meters, which is
over
450
400 feet. Yeah.
yeah, so that's going to be right opposite our front entrance,
And then there'll be another driveway south of that as well.
right?
No.
This one?
Yes.
Yes, that's another entrance into the development. I thought it was anyway. Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just clarify that, the northern entrance is actually a cul-de-sac or dead end. So there was an original plan for two entrances off 49. The county only wanted to see one entrance come in off 49.
So where is the entrance going to be, Chris?
Right
That one.
where that cursor is.
And how far from the crossroads of 49 and Anderson line is that entrance?
Probably 350 meters, just judging by the scale of
So
that map.
about 1,100 feet.
Yeah.
Right. And have you made application to have the speed on the road reduced from 80 kilometers? As we all know, nobody drives at 80 kilometers. They all drive at 100 to 120. There are huge trucks going up to the quarries, which are up the 49 and making a terrible noise every day. Obviously, with all the enlightened people that we're surrounded with in your council, you're going to reduce the speed limit from 80 to at least 50 kilometers an hour for safety. You've got to be able to turn into it. Is that being taken care of, Terry?
I think that's probably a question for our county representative, our planner from the county, but we can make sure we get asked that question.
And where is the planner from the
I
county?
think Melanie, are you on there? Melanie Manon, are you on there? I think we did have a traffic impact or transportation impact study done on that property, and I don't remember the details of it, but
Was the results of that put online by any chance?
no,
What time of
I-
year was it?
I'm not sure about it.
Through you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, go ahead.
This is Molly Mennon from the county. Yes, there was a traffic study that's done, that's on our website. So all of the details on that can be seen. The county was in fact concerned about the two accesses onto County Road 49 because of the speed issue. In fact, therefore, it was the county's request that the northerly entrance be closed off and there would only be the one entrance to the subdivision from County Road 49.
But have you made application, Melanie, to have the speed allowance reduced, speed reduced?
That's not something that I do as a planner, but the county has not yet indicated the need. County Public Works has not indicated the need for that to occur. Perhaps, I can put it to them again, but I'm sure it would have been something that was considered as part of their review.
Worth considering. I would think it was absolutely essential. Otherwise, you can have more accidents on the 49, and it's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Traffic lights. What about traffic lights, Melanie? Have you thought of those? I mean, if you go to Bob Cajun, the traffic light seems to be
Seems to be the solution.
yeah, every 5 minutes. What's wrong with the 49?
And when was the survey done?
I don't know.
Winter or summer?
Yeah, so Melanie, we understand that you did a traffic count. That's to assess how busy the County Road 49 is. If so, when did you do this? Did you do it in the height of the summer or did you do it in the coldness of the Bob Cajun winter?
I don't have that information at my fingertips right now, but the traffic study was done by the applicant. It was also peer reviewed by the county's peer reviewer.
So you keep saying by the applicant. Who's the applicant?
That would be Jeffrey Holmes.
Jeffrey Holmes.
Well, surely you're not going to, surely to God, you would not ask the applicant to conduct the traffic count. You would do, this is your responsibility.
The count will be done. I think we're talking about two different things here. We're talking about a transportation impact study. I don't know that they would ever do a count on the road. I think that's been done hundreds of times, so they probably know the traffic amount. Daily, winter, summer, spring, fall on that road. It's the transportation impact study. So
What does that consist of?
they take into account entrances, speed, all that. And that is online on the county website. So
Yeah, we tried to go on your website. I actually sent a letter 3 days ago to, I've got a copy of the letter on the phone, to whoever it was, reference the letter that came out inviting us to today's meeting. I haven't received a reply, not even an acknowledgement of a letter.
thank
No,
you.
not very good, is
Yeah,
it?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Appreciate your questions. Okay, does anyone else have any comments or questions regarding this file? It's in the gallery. Regarding this file, sorry. This item, yes. Please do if you, yep, please just come to the podium and state your name and
Leslie, don't worry about the last name.
I think we have to have your last name just for our
I'll
record.
spell it.
Okay.
CICHUTTEK. All these houses, are they going to be on a city water system or on a well?
Well, that's a question for the proponent, I think. So we'll ask that very question.
Okay, I'm just curious because I'm just there, right south of them, and I have no water in my well right now. I'm bone dry. So I'm just curious where they're going to get all their water from.
That's a very, very pertinent question. I would be concerned of that myself. Okay, thank you. We'll ask that. Okay. Any other comments or questions? I think you gentlemen in the back, did you have a question? Please come to the podium and state your name for the record.
I'll become more than once.
Okay. Well, you get to have more than one question.
This is a difficult situation to bring up in
Sorry,
regard to the, my
what
name
is-
is Alan Junkin,
Okay, Alan.
okay?
Okay.
Don't hold that against me having that last name, okay?
Okay, Alan, we won't.
In regard to the yellow line in the barn.
Mhm.
The barn is irrelevant. As in your discussion with this gentleman here, to me, it's irrelevant. The more important thing is, and I have personal observations to this, and I'll swear to this in a court, that this individual that owns that farm is running a sewage system, pumping raw sewage on that field to right north of that proposed subdivision. So these fellows that are designing this subdivision here, that's the most important thing. How are you going to address that? I know it's the Ministry of Environment, and you must be, if you're not aware of it, then there's something seriously wrong here. That should be addressed before anything gets started with you approving a subdivision. And I am a personal observation of raw sewage on both sides of Ranch Road,
Okay.
being on a regular basis. Part one.
Part one, okay. You can ask more questions if you'd like. No? Okay, anyone else have any
Can I ask
further?
another question?
Yep, please do. Yeah, this is the time. This is why we're having an open public meeting. You ask your questions.
Okay,
we'll
Rick
try to
Sarek
address
here
it.
again.
If we can't get your answer today, we will get your answer before we make a
Right.
decision.
Roughly, what are the lot sizes of this new project going to be? What's the average size?
No, that's a good, Chris, I don't know if you would know that or.
Mr.
Adele?
Mayor, I mentioned in my previous summary, the average lot size is just over half a hectare. So an
How many
acre,
acres is that?
Acre and a bit, yeah.
Acre and a bit.
Okay.
And the kind of houses that Jeffrey Homes are going to build, are these going to be $200,000 houses, if you can find any? 500,000, $1 million? What kind of housing? Bungalows, etc.?
I mean, that will be further down the line before we know any of that, I think.
Well, I would have thought, Mr. Mayor, that anybody who's spent all this money buying that property would have at least some idea of what kind of return they're going to get. And that would be based on the kind of houses they were going to build.
I'm sure they must know, but that's a good
But
question.
you don't know.
I do believe that representative is online or in the building. Oh, yeah, there we go. Would you like to speak to that?
We have a full presentation if
Okay.
you'd like, and I think it can answer a lot of questions.
Okay, why don't we do your presentation, then we can ask more questions. Would we like to do that, please? Thank
Okay.
you. Yeah, please come up to the podium.
I'll be back with these other questions.
Sure.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Debbie Vandenacker. Can everybody behind me hear too? I've been hearing questions, so I'm going to try to answer what I've been hearing as well, because I understand this is, it's a lot. It's land use planning, and there's a lot of pieces to this. So now, do I control from this screen or you control? You control? Next slide, please. Okay, so this is just the location. So this application requires a number of approvals. The first, the County of Peterborough is the authority for planning approvals here. And so Trent Lakes approves the zoning bylaw and an official plan amendment because we're expanding the boundary. And in terms of the county, they're also approving an official plan amendment. And that's because there's some old policies within the county official plan that we have to address. And then for the plan of subdivision itself. So those are the applications that need to be gone through in order for these houses to be built. Next slide, please. This is the plan that you've been looking at. That is the aerial and the boundary of that property. So what we've been talking about is phase one. You can kind of, phase one of the lands, you could just use this line, generally speaking. This is where your current settlement area boundary stops right now. So the houses are thought of, encouraged, permitted within that urban boundary. This is phase two of the project, and that's what we need the official plan amendments for, because what that represents, instead of these being rural lands from now on, it's going to become part of your settlement area boundary where residential uses are permitted. Okay, next slide, please.
Sorry, I have a question for you. Are you saying that it looks like that land has been divided into two, and you've got permission to build houses on the south side, but this application is to get on the north side? Is that correct? Is that what you're saying?
Through the mayor, could I answer?
Thank you. Yes.
So currently the south side where that bottom line is.
That's on the screen.
Okay, so this is what's called an urban settlement boundary right now. So it's a line on a map that's called a designation in your official plan. Outside of that are rural lands.
Well,
Okay.
let's just go back. It's a, what did you call it? A
Try to.
designation in an urban plan. What does that mean?
It's a title on a map. That's all
It's a
that
piece of
means.
paper.
In the official plan, which is the document that guides how everything is built in your community. It's the guidance document.
Now, when you say everything, what is all?
Land use planning. So where you want to build houses, where you've got public parks, where you've got administration buildings, all of your community planning happens within that document. Somebody has gone through that exercise to designate these things. So this is already included in your urban boundary, which means residential uses. It's intended for houses, basically.
Yeah, but hold on a second. This was farmland. This belonged to the Anderson family up until fairly recently. So when was all this decided? This is news to me.
Years
It's
ago,
been in your official plan for years.
probably
When was it
2014.
made residential? Does anybody know? Well, I'm surprised that you don't know,
Why?
because you're presenting it. You should know.
Okay, you got to start asking your
No,
questions through the chair. Rick,
That's what I
Rick?
expected. What is your position?
Rick,
Yes.
please ask your questions through
What
the
is
chair.
this lady's position?
Go ahead.
Good, Mayor. I'm a senior planner at a consulting firm named Planscape, and we are the applicant's agent for this. So we're the land use planners that represent what they're trying to
Right,
do.
so,
And we speak to Chris, who is the planner on the municipal side.
right, so this
And the
lady represents a private company
Mhm.
liaising with the county. Is that correct, as I understand
With
it?
the municipality. It's like they're
Municipality.
working back and forth, trying
You were
to figure out
paid
the
by
plan.
the company you work for,
Yes.
you were paid by the county. Or the municipality.
Municipality, yes.
Right, so you're the one in between. So you're acting in the interests of the applicant, Jeffrey Holmes.
May I answer that?
Yes, please.
So as professional planners, we all act in the public interest. So I have a professional duty to only act in the interest of what is the public. And that's all land use planning principles. So yes, while the applicants do pay me, I also work for lots of municipalities. So my role sort of, I guess, easy enough to compare to an engineer. An engineer has rules they have to follow. Planners have rules we have to follow as well. So yes, they do pay me. And yes, we follow the same rules as they do.
But if you're being paid by Jeffrey Holmes or any of these other companies, you will obviously always push their interests.
Actually, obviously not. That's against my code of ethics.
Yes, yeah, we know all about code of ethics.
I think we're done with that.
Yeah, we're done with that question. Yeah.
Next slide,
Do
please.
you have any further questions?
Thank you.
No, it's not enough. Say what I want.
So the supporting technical reports, I heard a couple questions in the audience about what these are. So, and I know you can't read them very well, so I'm going to read them out. So there was an archaeological assessment done, which means archaeological specialists come on site and they do their investigations in various stages for what they find. Then there was an environmental impact study done. This has been also peer reviewed by the county and the local authorities, also the Conservation Authority. There's been a hydrogeological assessment done. This is done by professional hydrogeologists, a geotechnical study done, a functional servicing and stormwater management report. So that's when the engineers come out and they do the grading and they make sure all of the runoff is going to work. The servicing plan, so that's when people are asking, is this on municipal services or private services? The servicing plan speaks to that piece. And then there's the transportation impact study, which we spoke about as well. So all of these are done by specialists in their field. It is submitted as part of the application, and the process of the local area municipality and the county are to have these reports peer reviewed. So this goes out to a completely separate peer review agency paid for by the applicant through the municipality so that taxpayers don't have to pay for that. So they don't work for the applicant, but they are paid that way. And then that feedback comes back, and then the specialists who wrote the report, and they go back and forth until they are satisfied with that. So all of the reports have been peer reviewed. KRCA has signed off their approval on this. So that's the supporting technical reports that went in with the application. Next slide, please. So this is the part that probably causes a little bit of confusion. This is what the official plan is, official plan amendment is about, and this is the settlement area boundary expansion. So Chris said in his presentation, this is a little bit of a planning 101, please bear with me. So in 2024, the province, so land use planning, the province sets the rules and everybody else has to follow them. In 2024, the province changed the rules so that these are the rules. If you're going to expand your settlement area boundary, this is what you need to follow now. Previous to that, there was a different set of rules. So as Chris said, the MDS, which stands for minimum distance separation formula, also provided by the province. This is not something we get to debate. There is a set of guidelines. You plunk in the numbers and it sets, I'm going to show you an image of it. It sets the boundary for you. So this barn, additional information came forward after we had initially run the MDS. And so now that we understand that that is there, we're working through that issue specifically. Next slide, please. So the pink shading at the top shows you phase 2. One of the key land use planning principles is orderly development. So phase 1, in your settlement area boundary, the idea is to build it first. You can see all the green spots here. So boots have been on the ground. All of the studies have been done. These are the boundaries drawn according to the natural heritage features on site that need to be protected. And these are the boundaries of the lots that are assumed. So just to clarify the entrance issue, and I believe the county did clarify this well, but there's one south entrance that you can see, and then there's an entrance on the other side. So there is no second entrance at the top, just for clarification purposes. Yes. The green is going to be EP, so environmental protection. That's the wetland that's in the center of that property. No, and so boots went on the ground. The wetland was walked, and then there's a boundary, or there's a buffer put on it as well, as per the province's rules. Next, please. Yes, you can't build in that. Yeah. So this is the MDS. I'm just going to get up again.
Thank you.
Just a point. So hopefully everybody can see this. So I've circled in yellow. This is the impact on this development. So I've overlaid, this is the draft plan on the property. This is the impact generated by the province's system. So there's like 300 pages of guidelines about how you do an MDS. There's an online system. It's like an app. You plug in all of the information about what you know about the buildings and all those things, and it generates these minimum distances from each building. So the barn that we're talking about, this is the impact area that was generated. So this little sliver here is what we're talking about, how that would impact this development. So there's a number of ways that that can be dealt with. And so unfortunately, because just in the timing of this, we wish we had sorted it before we came to you, but we will come back with the solution. But essentially, it just means don't build a house back there because the barn is too close. As you can see, the lots, and actually the lots are 1 hectare minimum, not 1 acre minimum, 1 hectare. So there's a lot of room here. And so there's absolutely no issue with building within that sort of area of influence from the MDS generation. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, so the zoning bylaw amendment. So remember, we have the official plan amendments, which are going to allow the boundary to expand. And then you have to rezone to make sure that where the houses are going to be built, they meet the setbacks and all of those things. So in phase 1, so those south lands, I've tried to label it there. Right now they are zoned development. So this has always been planned to be development. Development is a zone you put on when you're expecting houses, you just don't know what it's going to look like yet. So you rezone at the time. Phase 2 lands right now are rural, as I said, and they will go to hamlet residential exception and open space. So open space are going to be the green lands. You can't build in open space. And then all of these lands will be permitted to have residential uses on them. There are 2 exception zones, and there's a map on the next slide as well that I'll explain in a second, but exception zone 1, it's labeled HR 13, and that's to recognize that the units are being built with the provision of additional dwelling units already built in for the buyers. So if anybody has been following provincial legislation and changes right now, more units in less land area is the goal overall. So additional residential units is a recognized concept. They're being encouraged. Lots of legislation is passed to allow them as of right. What we're doing is just being proactive and making sure that there is no issue if the owners of these future lots want to have that additional residential unit. Granny Suite, so Granny Suites by any other name, now they're called additional residential units because Granny Suites were always supposed to be temporary, right? They were supposed to age out, yeah. So, and then the second exception zone is to recognize not only the additional dwelling unit, but also there's deficient lot frontages, and I'll show you why. So see where these roads curve around? You have to give people a way to measure frontage, and because of how it's measured, this appears like in the technical calculation that it's short of the frontage. So the curved fronting lots are actually short frontage. If you did it straight line across, they're not. It's just how you measure that. So we have to account for that as well in the zoning. Next slide, please.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah, one try.
the lady had mentioned something about archaeological rules and regulations. It's about 4 slides ago. I did try to get your attention.
I did, yeah.
Can you explain what you mean by that?
Go ahead.
Through there. Do you mean, what did they do in the study? Sorry, I don't understand your question.
Explain what you're trying to talk about. What do you understand as archaeological?
So in Ontario, there are lands with archaeological potential. And when you have archaeological potential, that official plan that I was talking about tells you the studies that you have to do on the lands if they have archaeological potential. These lands did. So it went
Sorry,
through
how do we know that?
a map that the province generates.
All right, I'm just a simple man, farmer from across the road. And I remember looking 2 years ago, there was a bunch of students on the land in question. And they came across bones and said, oh, these are archaeological. Oh, really? Wonder how old those are then? Well, we don't know. Could be 100 years old. And there were markers put in the ground. Is that what you're referring to?
Yes, they did extensive study on the site. So that's
how do you
online as
know-
well.
Do you know how old those bones were?
No,
Were they Indian bones?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know, but this has been submitted to the Ministry of
But
Culture.
maybe that's sacred land. You don't know.
We do know that. No, it's not.
How do you know it's not sacred?
Because archaeological.
Okay, we're not having a conveison back and forth.
Sorry,
We're-
archaeologists
You ask
said
a
it
question
wasn't.
through me and we'll get Debbie to answer.
Right, what I'm trying to establish is, is this lady's, who's defining what is archaeological and what isn't?
That
Through
is
the
part
sheriff
of the
department.
archaeological study that's taken and it's registered with the provincial government. Provincial, yeah. provincial.
Yes.
So a study was undertaken by who?
Say that again, sorry, Mike.
Who was the study undertaken by?
An
So
ar-
the study was undertaken.
An archaeologist.
Sorry?
Archaeologists do the study. They
Archaeologists.
get all the data, they put it all together, they make a big report, it's online. You can look at it, you can read it, it's probably 150 pages of all the stuff they found, all the little different digs they did. And they will identify what it was and it goes into a registry with the Minister of Culture, Sports, and something.
So you're saying that these students that I came across, just watching over, I went over there and said, what are you doing? Oh, we're digging out bones. This has all been registered.
Every hole that they dug will be registered,
And all
yes.
these bones have been dated.
They all go to the archaeologists, archaeologists will study them and determine what they are, yeah.
Right, and whoever it is, then we know that we're having to rely on them as experts. They can date these bones.
They're
Yes, 'cause
experts,
they're
they are
archaeologists.
experts.
Oh, because they're archaeologists. Yeah, just 1 second.
Okay, but you've asked your question. Can you continue with your report, please, Debbie, and then we'll get.
I can, yes, sorry. So this slide shows you where those exception zones are. So the darker orange hatching is what I was talking about with on the corners with the frontage. I just wanted you to see which ones will have an exception zone on it. So it doesn't mean anything nefarious. It's just recognizing that the frontages on those lots are deficient. And actually, you can see this one. Full disclosure, it is deficient. It's bigger at the back. It's just a product of where the wetland is versus the road.
Mhm.
So the zoning on these lots will recognize that lot configuration as is appropriate. Next slide, please. Ta-da.
Okay, thank you very much for clarifying some of the questions that people have had. Is there any
Happy to help.
further questions? Go ahead, please come to the podium. I'm sorry, we'll get you.
Yeah, my name is John DeGad. I live on Elwood, relatively new to the area, just moved up from Lakeshore County 2 years ago, almost to the date. My concern is I don't really understand hydrological study, how that's done, what it includes. Is it just the property in question here? Does it also extend beyond the boundaries to current residents?
Yeah, I don't know if we have someone that's a specialist in that field in the building right now. We'll write that question down and we'll make sure you get an answer before we move forward with a decision.
Yeah, there are a lot of residents, obviously,
Yes.
as you can see from the aerial. We all do have wells. I don't know what the average well depth, et cetera, is, and if we do or don't have problems already, and what's our recourse if adding 58 more wellheads has to our water supply.
Thank you. Well, we'll make sure we get answers to that question before we make a decision.
Okay.
And we'll share that with you. So what was your name again?
John Degat, Degadt, and I'm at 205 Elwood.
Okay, thank you. I think.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and I think you had a question, if you would like to.
My question was partially his, but I do have an observation.
Yeah, you need to, just so people online can hear you. Because
Okay. Hi,
Thank you.
my name is Grace Junkin, and I'm one of the adjoining property owners on the south of this proposed subdivision. I am very concerned about the hydrology reports also. Many of the wells in our neighborhood are already gone dry in this drought, and I don't think with our current climate situation that that is going to change. So adding 58 more wells is quite a concern for us personally and many of our neighbors. And I'm also very concerned about the wetlands that are going through this and how that, if any of that drainage system, if anyone can speak to the drainage system, because our current ditches have been expanded. They're quite large. It's quite a job to maintain that area, and most of the residents do a wonderful job of keeping them very nice. But even though the ditches are huge, our culverts are not in a ratio to that volume of water that might come from any change in the drainage. And that is a concern that I also have. And I'm also noticing on the east entrance on Moonline North, it appears to be on the wetland. And I'm curious about how that was made possible, how you can have an entrance on a wetland. So those are my questions that I would like to be addressed.
Okay, thank you very much, Grace. We will get answers for you. Okay, any other further comments or questions? Okay, please come to the podium and state your name.
Hello, Charlotte Degat, 205 Elwood, same spelling as John Degat. I just wanted to reiterate that regarding the wells and the water situation, that it sounds like we'll probably have a future meeting. And it would be very important to know the occupancy of this area, because it sounds like houses of a certain size with an estimation of so many bedrooms, bathrooms, etc. But then you've already said they're designated to have additional accommodation on them. So it's like you're doubling the water and drainage usage in this area. And I'm very concerned about our wells. And now, from what the comments have been, I'm concerned about the drainage too. But anyway, before we have another meeting, I'd really like to know what they based their study on for the water and how we can ensure that everybody has water and nobody is disadvantaged by this.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, no, I think there's a functional servicing and stormwater management report on this file that kind of helps you guide you through that a little bit as to where the water is going to go and such. Come on up, state your name for the record, sir. I've forgotten it already, my goodness.
No hold it against you.
Yeah.
My name is Alan Junkin.
I-
I'm another Junkin on Elwood, so you got to watch for us, okay?
We'll pay attention.
My question to this lady is, thank you for coming. Is this company, is the city, are they willing to put up a letter of credit for $2 million to guarantee that our wells aren't going to go dry in a year or two? I want you to record that and get an answer for us, because our wells are going to go dry. My family has lived here for 150 years and farmed on this land. I drove cattle to water in the wintertime, personally. Okay. I know there's other fellows here that know more about this and aren't speaking up.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
it's craziness. Is there another development in Peterborough County that one Carl Anderson's farm has 100 homes on 100 wells? Can you answer that question? Is there another development in Peterborough County that has 100 homes on wells on a 100-acre farm? Like, how did this ever get advanced this far? All your studies don't mean a damn thing when our wells go dry, and they will. And I'm finished.
Thank you, Alan. We appreciate your comment. We'll write it down, and try to find you an answer. Okay, come to the podium, please, and state your name for the record.
Jason Martin. Can we go back to the other slide with the aerial? Which shows the okay. That's fine. So where the environmentally protected area is, all the water goes in my backyard. Are they going to be grading the home's drainage into that?
I think, did you want to answer that? Yeah,
I
please.
can.
Yeah.
So through you, I am not an expert, but the general principle is the water on each lot is supposed to stay in each lot, and the water from that development is supposed to stay on that development. So the wetland is part of that drainage feature.
Yeah, which I understand. I just want to make sure that's going to happen. That's all. Because right now I already have an issue with the water that comes through there in the spring.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm trying to figure. You're right there. Lot 19.
Lot 19.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was your name?
Jason Martin. And the other question is, all of these lots backing up to the protected area, is that kind of a fence to stop them from going into it? Because my backyard's there, so people start putting their crap in the environmentally protected area.
I am unsure of the answer.
Okay, thank you. Good question. Appreciate it. Okay, any other comments or questions? Go ahead, come to the podium and please state your name for the record.
Brad Carr, I already promised somebody in the wouldn't. So my concerns about the sewage flows and the amount of water that's going to be required to support this development. I went through some of the reports in the pier, and they're using 1,000 liters per day as the projected daily sewage flow. And according to the OBC, 1,000 liters per day is less than a 2-bedroom dwelling, under 200 square meters, and in general, no more than 2 bathrooms. The size of this development, the size of these lots, and what I see going on, I find it difficult to believe that we're going to be looking at a number of dwellings that are 1 to 2 bedroom. And then I just learned here that there's going to be ARUs, additional residential units, which further impacts the amount of sewage flow. The other concern I have beyond the sewage is we're going to have a bunch of people that are irrigating their lawns. There's going to be a lot of water used up there, which isn't accounted for in the sewage flow. And how is that going to impact the aquifers that we're drawing our water from now? It could be significantly more. I do understand that if you're watering your lawn, the water does get back to the water table, but not all of it. So I'm really concerned that how much water is going to be used and how it's going to influence our wells. We've already heard from a couple of people that have had difficulties with their wells, or one for sure. I also know that there's wells in the neighborhood that have been hydrofracked because they weren't getting sufficient supply. How is that going to influence them? I've also got a couple of reports of dry wells that were drilled in the subdivision to the south, the existing, and I provided them to Adele.
Okay.
So I'm just worried that what they're using, which may meet what the province wants, the MOECP, but 1,000 liters per day is not realistic.
Thank you for that comment, Mr. Clark. Appreciate that. And that's something we make sure we have to look into, because we don't want a development that's going to drain a bunch of wells that are surrounding you. So there are some better systems and ideas around, so it's not just necessarily that has to happen. So, any other comments or questions?
One more question.
What? Please go.
Can we go back 2 or 3 slides back to the topographical picture? That one. So what we're saying, can I come out?
Okay, please do. Yeah, this is your time.
This is did I understand this correctly? These areas here are environmentally affected by the property development. Is that,
No,
as I
no,
understand
it's
it?
the other way around.
Or can you
Those are
explain?
barns, and the red circle is the minimum distance separation you have to have for development around that barn, basically. And as you can see, the newly identified barn does slice into the development area slightly. Okay,
So this is our barn here, I believe.
That's Ranch Road and Anderson.
You're down.
Way down there.
Yeah.
No, we're not really affected by it.
But what if there were cattle there?
well, it's more the barn, the barn concentrates it, right? So I think it's more about where the barn is. But thank you for pointing that out. I do appreciate that. Okay, any other comments or questions? Come on up and state your name again.
Charlotte began 205 Elwood again. Just one quick question. Someone mentioned at the beginning that in the event that anyone wanted to launch an appeal, they had to do it at a certain time or forever hold their peace. Now, we didn't get all our questions answered today, and there's still a lot of information we would all still like, I think. Do we have to launch an appeal now, or do we wait till we have the answer to some of these questions? Can someone tell us, like, what's the deadline?
Would you like to speak to that, Adele Arbor, our planner, please?
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Mayor. It's only when a decision is made by council, and should you disagree with the decision, then you're entitled to appeal. You're on record as having spoken at the public meeting, so that entitles you to do an appeal if you so wish, with whatever decision council makes.
Okay, but there is no decision at this time.
That's correct.
So we would be notified that a decision's been made. Okay,
Because you spoke at a public meeting,
okay, thank you.
okay? All right.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, I think, is there anyone online that might want to speak more about this item? No? Okay. Any further questions?
Just
Yes,
ask one thing.
Please do, yeah.
Do I have to go up?
Yeah, I would appreciate it if you would, just because if there's people listening online, they can't hear you when you're sitting in your seat. My apologies, but
So you have a phase 1, phase 2. Does that mean you're building the south first? Have everybody move in? So I got a cold. And then everybody moves, then you're gonna do the second, or you do them both together?
I actually don't know what the phase one is.
Okay.
We're calling them phase 1 and phase 2 because originally, when the I'm sorry.
go ahead,
answer,
it's all right.
please.
It's okay.
When we originally applied for the rezoning, it was called phase 1 because provincially, some legislation changed that allowed us to ask for phase 2. And so it was just called, it's called phase 1 and phase 2 because of that, as opposed to building phase 1 and phase 2.
Okay.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. Okay, I think we've had lots of questions and we have some future information to get to everyone, so we'll try to get that information to you. Okay. Oh, Deputy Mayor Armstrong, go ahead. I'm just
Thanks so
about
much.
getting back to council here.
Oh, no.
Go ahead.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lindsay. Perhaps our planner could just give us an idea of next steps and timelines. I'm sure people in the gallery would like to know where this file goes and what sort of timing around it, if you would please.
Right, Adele?
Through you, Mr. Mayor.
Or-
We do have some legwork to do to answer these questions that the public have brought forward. And so we will deal with them as quickly as we can. As Mr. Jones indicated, he wants to go back out on site to see that particular barn. And there'll be discussions with the proponent and their consultant. And we will try and get these answers to council as soon as possible. But based on the timing of our council meetings, it's the first and third Tuesday of the month. However, we do have the people that spoke. We do have their contact information. And when anything's brought forward, I've made a record of it. The clerks will have a record of it as well. And we'll make sure information goes out to them, advising them when the next report is coming forward based on answering some of the questions they posed here today.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Does anybody on council have any comments or questions? Go ahead, Councilor Francis.
You have another question through you, Mayor. I'm just curious about for the lakes as at least one development on 49 that's, I believe, proposed. I was wondering if that would have any impact on the aquifer, if that also we have to include that in the report.
Okay, that's a good question. I think they're probably going to get town water likely until that it's close, but you never knows, right?
You never know.
It is quite doable.
Sorry, Peter,
Okay,
which,
any other
where
com-
is this development that you're referring to?
The one just outside of Upcajon, they've had it leveled for about 4 or 5 years now.
Across 49?
Across on 49.
It's a bit smaller, but it's significant. It will likely have town water, but I shouldn't say that because I don't know that for sure, but okay. Any other questions from council? I'm seeing none. And is there anyone online? No? Okay. Is there anyone more questions in the gallery? Please go ahead.
My name is Grace Junkin, and I'm at 185 Elwood Crescent. I just want to be clear how those of us who have asked questions or any of the adjoining neighbors will be notified of any of these questions that are answered. If we'll be notified by mail, by email, or how we can expect to be contacted.
It's a very good question. Go ahead, Adele.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, we will contact by email, and it'll be a report going to council, so you will be aware of the contents that we are sending to council in the report. So are we to submit our emails now, or how are you going to contact? Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, I didn't see if there was a sheet outside the council chambers. There wasn't. So when the public meeting is over, I will go and get the sheet and you can submit your emails and we'll provide you the documentation. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you, Greg. Okay. One more question.
I understand, George, I'm talking to you. I understand that they met like planning requirement for notification of neighboring properties. It's a little bit unique in our situation because only the people that own properties on the north side of Elwood would have been notified. But that's maybe a third of the lots that are in the subdivision. Is there a way that the other residents could be notified of progress?
Okay, I don't know. I thought we circulated to a larger area than we used to.
No,
No?
just people adjoining.
Go ahead. Adele.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, it's 120 meters from the property boundary.
And that's a rule in planning, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Correct.
Through you, Terry?
Yes, go ahead.
The 120 does, like, I understand that's what the province is requiring. I'm just asking in the circumstances, if it could be increased, so the bulk of the neighbors in the subdivision could be notified of what goes on. There's a lot of wells, because that was my concern, in those remaining lots, that those people weren't aware of even today's public meeting, which I understand was done properly.
Okay, go ahead, Adele.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, that is something that council could direct staff to do with an upcoming report, should you wish the circulation to be increased.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Terry.
Appreciate the comments. It's nice to let everybody know, and if you don't let your neighbor know, please do.
Could we get a copy of the subdivision map that we could take home and read? Or to look at, of the lots?
I think we can find that, don't we? Yeah, we could print some, I'm sure.
I wish, because we couldn't see half
Yeah.
of the stuff up there.
If you can get online, you can just zoom in on it, but if you don't get online, we'll get you a copy. Okay. All right, we are going to go now to our next item on our agenda, which is item 7, which is business arising from. It's rising out of a public meeting. So I would entertain a motion to reconvene our regular council meeting. Thank you. See Councillor Franzen for a mover, Deputy Mayor Armstrong for a seconder. Any further conversation? I'm seeing none. I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. We will wait a minute just to let the room clear a bit.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, if you can make an announcement, we're just bringing down a sheet of paper that
Okay.
people can write their email addresses on.
If you want to, they're bringing down a piece of paper to put your email address on, so please put your address out there. Share it with your neighbor if you haven't already. I don't think anybody listening at all. No? Not one person listening.
Feel like you're at home?
Yep, I feel like I just come in the house. Okay, we are going to call for a vote to reconvene the, did we call it? I didn't even know I called it. That motion has carried. Okay, we've got 3 or 4 more to go there, or 5 or 6.
We're just bringing one.
Yeah, they're bringing one down
You
first.
could put that, that's okay.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Okay, we can now move on to item 7.1 of our agenda, which is Adele Arbor, our planner. Would you like to speak to this item, please?
Yes, thank you. And through you, Mr. Mayor, this is the recommendation for zoning bylaw amendment 25-13. The council received the report from the planner regarding zoning bylaw amendment 25-13, and further that council support zoning bylaw amendment file number 23-13. Sorry, 25-13.
Okay, thank you very much, Adele. Does anyone on council have any comments or questions, or are you prepared to make a motion? I'm seeing Deputy Mayor Armstrong. Go ahead.
I will make the motion that we receive the report and that council support zoning bylaw amendment file number 25-13.
Do I have a seconder for that motion? See Councillor Cadigan for a seconder. Any further conversation regarding the motion? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. Okay, we can move on to item 7.2 of our agenda, which is Adele Arbor, our planner. Would you like to speak to this item, please?
Thank you. And through you, Mr. Mayor, this is regarding zoning bylaw amendment file 25-14 and official plan amendment file number 62, Elmdale Developments. If council is in agreement with the analysis of this report, it's being recommended that council receive the report from the planner for official plan amendment number 62 and zoning bylaw amendment file number 25-14, and that council defer adoption of official plan amendment 62 and zoning bylaw amendment file number 25-14 pending the resolution of the MDS assessment of the barn located on lands north of the subject lands at 214 County Road 49. And I'd like to add a third recommendation that planning staff address the comments made at the public meeting and a further report be brought back to council.
Thank you very much, Adele. Okay, does anyone have any comments or questions? Councillor Braber, go ahead.
Thank you, through your mayor. Just a question to Adele. Did you want to tack on a fourth, saying to direct you to expand the notification that you had mentioned?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, that's to council's discretion. We'd be happy to do anything that council wishes or directs us to do.
Okay. You would like to add that, is that sort of, you're making a motion or you?
Yeah, the question was, should I be making a separate motion or tacking it onto this one?
I think you could just put it on there as another recommendation.
Okay. That staff, that council directs staff to increase notification or circulation regarding this item.
Okay.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, would you like everyone in that subdivision that's
I
to
think
the,
Elmwood Crescent is really all you need to do because that's the only ones that aren't captured by the 120 meters. I mean, you don't want to go out to 400 or 500 meters and have 700 people come. I think the south side of Elmwood Crescent is probably
Yeah, just the other 2/3 that one person said was missing. Mr. Clark, I believe it was.
For sure. Okay.
And specifically just regarding this item. I don't want to speak generally because there will be.
Just one item.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Are you going to make that entire motion with recommendations and the fourth recommendation?
I'll make the motion to accept the 3 recommendations made by Adele with an addition of the 4th recommendation that I made.
Okay, thank you very much. Do I have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Franzen for a seconder. Any further conversation regarding the motion or the item? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. Thank you very much, Adele, for the help on that file. It was a bit back and forth-ish that I should have maybe took a little more control over. Okay, we can move on now to item 8 of our agenda, which is presentations. Employee split. And we have none. We can go to item 9, which is delegations. I think we just had 20. We have none. Item 10, which is staff reports. 10.1 is public works. We have none. 10.2 is recreation and facilities. And 10.2.1, Dylan Kosh, our director of recreation and facilities. Would you like to speak to this item, please?
Sure would. Thank you, Mayor and Council. I thought for sure the audience was here for my report.
Me too.
I guess not.
I know.
I have brought some expertise with me. This is Chris Price from MVW. MVW was kind enough in conjunction with Glenn Wilcox Architect to come up with the pricing in front of you. I understand that this is a staggering number. Given the previous direction was to make the Deer Bay Hall habitable, which is understandably kind of vague, I guess I would say. The goal that we went with was to make it accessible, remediate all of the mold, asbestos issues, and basically have a shell that would be acceptable as a public building of some flavor down the road. The estimate from MBW is broken down fairly heavily, so council can kind of see where all of those, where those dollars come from. It was using Greenview's 2015 concept, as it, largely wouldn't involve developing another concept, in which Greenview's concept itself was basically make it accessible and leave the interior layout roughly as it was. So given the initial, the cost to bring this structure to a habitable public building state, and given that we are continuing to spend $15,000, $20,000 annually in maintenance, and we've received no public feedback or no committed use for the Deer Bay Hall to this point in time, which a public consultation period was undertaken in 2023, and no viable options were accepted by council at that time. It is staff's recommendation to declare this land surplus and to dispose of it in accordance with our policy on that. Additionally, there has been background work done in previous years to sever the property from the roadway there, as there is a resident on that road, which we would have to continue providing some winter maintenance to, as we have been historically doing so. So we have done that background work already. It's already in the bank. It's a bit of time with the lawyer to actually physically separate the two, and then we're off to the races, in which at that point in time we would have an appraisal done and move through the policy. So if there's any questions for myself or Chris, we'd be happy to try to answer.
Okay, thank you very much, Dylan. Anyone have any questions or comments? Deputy Mayor Armstrong, go ahead.
Thanks, Mayor Lamson. Thanks very much for bringing this forward, Dylan. Do we have any ballpark estimate as to what the market value of this property would be? We'll put it on the market.
Through you, Mayor. I could throw a number at the dartboard, but it would be just that, a number at the dartboard. I would be in it.
Start throwing.
I would say 400 or 500. I'm just guessing. I think there's what we conclude that.
Yep.
Keystone has 2 acres in, but I can see if that is actually any different here. I thought it was closer to 4, but Keystone did have 2 acres.
Yeah, I think you'd be lucky to get 4 in the present market.
Yeah, it's a challenge market, and it is obviously in need of quite a bit of work.
That's fine. I really was
Yeah,
just
just,
looking for.
no, just an
ballpark.
idea, no, just, I mean,
Don't need you to.
think 400 and hope we get there.
Wishful.
Wishful, yeah, be wishful at 400 because I know like 4 or 5 years ago, there was like, we were wishing at 200. So. Yeah, any other comments or questions? Councillor Franlin, go ahead.
Yeah, I would support the status quo of keeping the facility, not doing the improvements on it. I think it's important to keep historical buildings, that it relates to a lot of people in the area. And I think we should preserve whatever history we have left within this municipality.
Okay, Councillor Cadigan, comments?
I would speak in favor of disposing of the property. I think that we committed ourselves to close to $10 million last meeting for new fire and public works buildings. And we're going to need this money to help cover those costs down the road.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Councillor Fairbrooke, do you have a comment? Go ahead.
Sure, through you, Mayor. I concur with both Councillors Franzen and Cadigan.
Wait a minute, hold on a minute.
To explain it further, I know that when it came before council initially, I was in favor of keeping it, going through the process of getting an estimate of how much it would cost. I'm looking at it a little bit differently than Councillor Cadigan, whereas I'm leaning towards in favor of what Dylan, what your report is recommending. In my mind, if we are going to commit that for sale, I would like us to also think of current opportunities that may be within the hamlet of Buckhorn, that money, those monies may be able to, go towards if that was a decision or an item that came up as a possibility. So I'm in favor of the recommendation.
Deputy Mayor Armstrong, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Lamson. I too am in favor of the recommendation. We've been spending $10,000 to $50,000 a year for what, 5-6 years now, just keeping this property. So I think it's just money going down the drain. I don't like that. I think it's an absolute waste of taxpayer money. Also, I think we don't want to confuse nostalgia with heritage value. I'm not sure that this has any recognized heritage value versus people having a lot of fond memories of it. Those are two very distinct things. And in concert with what Councillor Braybrook has said, we certainly have a number of both committed and potential opportunities for land and building purchases. So I would like to see any monies from the sale of it go into a reserve that would allow us to leverage those. So I'm in favor of the motion. Thank you
very much. And Councillor Franzen, you have an additional comment?
Yeah, another comment. Maybe I should direct this to staff. It's indicated that it's 15,000 to 20,000 that we're spending on the operating costs of this building. Does that mean that we're going to be able to cut the budget by $15,000 to $20,000?
Go ahead, Dylan.
Through you, Mayor. So a large portion of that $15,000 to $20,000 is insurance costs. The building maintenance and what minimal amount there is in heat and hydro, maybe $3,000 or $4,000 would be cut. I don't know if there's an insurance reduction or not, but that might be something we would have to dig into deeper if it is a weighing point there, I guess I would say. I don't know if we would actually realize any reduced insurance costs by divesting of it. But yes, there is a minimal amount of operating costs that would be reduced.
Directly. Thank you. Any other comments? I have one. You struck a heart there with your nostalgia, because I think that is a lot of what my decision's being made on, is the thought of that was a school. My own brother went there. Many friends on County Road 507 and Buckhorn went there. You know, I just didn't want to see that building disappear. I think that's a good old building that has good bones. I mean, it needs a lot of work to make it something that's functional for a municipality. And I think maybe moving forward, that if it just transitioned in, I know there's some expressed interest already that if we're going to sell it, somebody wants to know about it. So they went to school there as a kid. Some of their relatives went to school there. So it may not disappear if we sell it. I think it's probably just another step in its life. I think that it's outlived its municipal function, I think. So I'm really disappointed in the idea, but I think I was voting with nostalgia, not with the thought of it being a heritage building. Thank you for that comment. I think. Okay. So we need to make a decision. Is anyone prepared to make a motion? Deputy Mayor Armstrong, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll make the motion that we receive the report, that we deem that 22 Deer Bay School Road as surplus land, and further that we direct staff to begin the disposal process in accordance with our policy.
Okay. Do I have a seconder for that motion? I think I do. Councillor Cadigan over. Okay, any further conversation?
Recorded to.
Councillor Franz, go ahead. Yeah.
Just a question
Councillor Braber.
with Deputy Mayor Armstrong's recommendation, staff's recommendation, her reading it. Did we want to put anything in there that sort of commits any monies to further development or potential? I don't know if that's doable. Not to ask about finance. Yeah, see.
Donna went out the back door.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Donna.
Thank you. So just on the insurance as well, our insurance policy is based on specific facilities. So there would have to be a reduction if that facility is not there. In saying that, we know our insurance has gone up historically, so that's one thing. So when we follow through in the requirements in the policy, I believe there would be a requirement to come back to council. But either way, we would come forward with a recommendation. Typically, if we sell a recreation facility, we put the money in what is called a park fund. And that money is used for recreation purposes. Council could direct otherwise. On this one in particular, it's not a development idea, so I don't think that would be necessarily required, but it is something we typically would do. We would put it in the park fund and use those funds for recreation purposes.
And we can be very specific of what we use that for. So.
Yeah, just to follow through you, Mayor. Yeah, so I just want to make sure if we are going to be moving on, I'm looking at, I don't want to sort of pigeonhole that money into the recreation. Whereas if another opportunity, comes to light, that we're not able to access that money. I don't know if it can be reworded as a general development, purchase of property and a development of property, as opposed to recreation that we cannot access.
Through you, I would say today the direction to staff is according to this resolution, and we would come back to you with any potential uses or any direction in that regard. The first step is to follow the policy and declare it as surplus and move ahead in selling it. And we will come back to you with recommendations or suggestions on your end where that money should go.
Perfect.
Council desires for that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I think that Councillor Franzen called for a recorded vote. Is that all the questions we have? I think it's out of my hands now.
Thank you. Councillor Franzen, are you in favor?
No.
Mayor Lamshead?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Armstrong?
Yes.
Councillor Braybrook?
Yes.
Councillor Cadigan?
Yes.
That motion is carried.
Okay, thank you very much, Jesse Clark. I was going to call you our treasurer there for a minute. I must be getting tired. Okay, we can move on to item 10.3 of our agenda, which is fire and emergency services, which we have none. And we can move on to 10.4, which is building and planning, and 10.4.1. Adele Arbor, our planner, would you like to speak to this item, please?
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Mayor. The property owner of 29 Fire Route 132 has applied to remove the holding provision on their property. The property owner has satisfied the two conditions that were applicable to the holding provision, that being the submission of an archaeological assessment and ministry letter, and entering into a site plan development agreement formalizing the recommendations of an EIS and archaeological assessment. The notice of intention to pass an amending bylaw to remove the holding symbol was given in accordance with Section 36 of the Planning Act. Planning staff are supportive of the removal of the holding provision on the subject property and recommend the following. That council received the report from the planner regarding the removal of holding symbol for 29 Fire Route 132, and further that council support the approval of a bylaw to remove the holding symbol for 29 Fire Route 132, which is on today's council agenda for consideration.
Okay, thank you very much, Adele. Anyone have any comments or questions regarding this file? Councilor Braber, go ahead.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor, I'll make a motion that council receive the report and that council supports staff's recommendation.
Okay, thank you very much, Councilor Braber. Do I have a seconder for that motion? Councilor Franzen for a seconder. Any further conversation regarding the motion? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion is carried. Thank you very much, Adele. We can move on now to item 10.5 of our agenda, which is finance. We have none. 10.6 is administration. We have none. 10.7 is corporate services. 10.7.1, Bianca Dragicevic, our deputy clerk. Would you like to speak to this item, please?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Lanshead. Before council is the report outlining the remainder of expenses submitted for the month of June for council's authorization. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Councilor Raber, go ahead.
Motion to approve.
Okay, do I have a seconder? I see Councilor Cadigan for a seconder. Any further conversation? I'm seeing none. I will call for the vote. All in favor? Motion has carried. We can now move on to 10.7.2, which is Jesse Clark, our Director of Corporate Services Clerk. Would you like to speak to this item, please?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Lanshead. A public notice was circulated regarding the sale of a potential of an unopened road allowance for the rye crafts, and no comments were received. So council is recommending that council declare a portion of the unopened road allowance between concessions 11 and 12, lot 16, as surplus to the needs of the municipality. And further that council authorize the stop off and closure of said unopened road allowance, and further that council authorize the sale to the adjacent landowners, Rosalind and Richard Rycraft.
Okay, thank you very much, Jesse Clark. Does anyone have any comments or questions? Any members of council? Seeing none, is anyone prepared to make a motion? Councilor Braber, go ahead.
Thank you. Through you, I'll make a motion that council receive the report and that council support staff's recommendations.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Braber. Do I have any seconder for that motion? Councilor Franzen for a seconder. Any further conversation regarding the motion or item? I am seeing none. I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. Okay, we can move on now to item 10.7.3 of the agenda. Jesse Clark, our Director of Corporate Services Clerk, would you like to speak to this item, please?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Lanshead, similar to the report above, another public notice was circulated regarding the sale of an unopened road allowance to the DeFritas, and no public comments were received, and staff's recommending that council declare a portion of the unopened road allowance between lots 15 and 16, concession 1, Cavendish Ward, a surplus to the needs of the municipality, and that they authorize the stop off and closure and the sale to the adjacent landowners.
Okay, thank you very much, Jesse Clark. Councilor Cadigan, go ahead.
Motion to receive the report with staff's recommendations.
Improve, okay. And I think we have, yeah, okay. Do I have a seconder for that motion? It just seemed like I needed more there for some reason. Deputy Mayor Armstrong for a seconder. Any further conversation? I'm seeing none. I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. Okay, thank you very much. We can move on to item 11 of our agenda, which is notices of motion. Do you have any more notice of motion to declare? I see none. We can move on to item 12, which is correspondence for information. Item 12.1 is the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus newsletter. Councilor Braber, go ahead.
Motion to receive.
Do I have a seconder for that motion? Councilor Cadigan for a seconder. Any conversation about the item? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. We can move on to item 13 of our agenda, which is correspondence for action. Item 13.1 is the Municipality of Blue Water. Would anyone like to speak to that item? Councillor Brandon, go ahead.
A motion to receive.
Do I have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Braybrook for a seconder. Any further conversation regarding the motion? All right. I'm seeing none. I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. We can move on now to item 14 of our agenda, which is bylaws. I think we just have 2 bylaws on the agenda. So bylaw 14.1 is B 2025-078. We had a discussion about that just earlier. Is anyone prepared to make a motion? We're going home, that's it. Deputy Armstrong, go ahead.
Motion to approve that.
Okay, do I have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Braybrook for a seconder. Any further conversation about the bylaw? I'm seeing none. I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. We can move on to item 14.2 of the agenda, which is zoning bylaw amendment, file number 2513, Thomas. Is anyone prepared to make a motion? Councillor Braybrook, go ahead.
Motion approved.
Okay, do I have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Cadigan for a seconder. Any further conversation about the Toms? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. Okay, we can move on to item 15 of our agenda, which is an announcement. Does anyone have any announcements to make? Deputy Mayor Armstrong, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Lance. Just one. We now, excuse me, have a new CEO for our library, the 2 branches. Her name is Andrea Landry. She at one time was CEO of the Jero Dummer Library. She's also worked in the Peterborough Library, so has an extensive background in library sciences. She started back in August and submitted her first report at our library board meeting, and seems to be a very good fit for staff and our community.
Excellent. Well, that's very, very good news. Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor Armstrong. Any other announcements? I'm seeing none. We can move on to item 16 of our agenda, which is our closed meeting. I would entertain a motion to go into closed session. Councillor Cadigan for a mover and Councillor Franzen for a seconder. We are going to go into closed on the authority of the Ontario Municipal Act, section 239(2), to discuss B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, and it's an identifiable individual. I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. We are going into closed. Okay, we can move on now to item 16.2 of our agenda, which is rise from closed meeting. I would entertain a motion for same. Councillor Cadigan for a mover. Deputy Mayor Armstrong for a seconder. I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. We are now back in our regular council meeting, so we can move on to item 17 of our agenda, which is business arising from our closed meeting. Item 17.1 is the adoption of the minutes from September 2nd, 2025. Would someone like to make that motion? Councillor Franzen for a mover. Councillor Cadigan for a seconder. Any further conversation about the minutes? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. We can move on to item 18 of our agenda, which is the adoption of the confirming bylaw. Item 18.1 is the confirming bylaw. Councillor Cadigan for a mover and Deputy Mayor Armstrong for a seconder. I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried to adopt the confirming bylaw. And we can move on to item 19, which is adjournment. Would anyone care to make a motion to adjourn? Hanging out? Okay. Councillor Franzen for a mover. Councillor Cadigan for a seconder. I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. We are adjourned. Thank you very much, staff. Thank you very much, everyone in the gallery. Thank you very much, council.